RiseMag.com.
Hello, this is Juanfer Jr. from Ramencon 2013.
Juan!
And
Did
to
you
my
flare your nostrils when you did that?
Juan!
and to my right, making our man Daryl back there lose his composure, are the lovely Jamie Marchi and Monica Rial.
Hi!
Would you ladies?
I tried really hard not to say hi. It's so hard.
Would you ladies like to give us an intro to the 5 people that have no idea who you are that are watching this? A little bit of a bio, current projects, etc.
Sure.
Go for it.
We are both voice actors and script writers for FUNImation, and
I went, why?
because they sing sometimes. Our boobs sing. Also, that's something else we have in common, and we've directed some shows before.
Yes.
But we are Panty and Stocking. We'll talk about what we're in together. Meg and Joe from Burst Angel.
And Mejia and Doll.
From
Tenchimuyo.
We're on Gimnar.
Ooh, look at you with the Gimminar.
Well, I was just preparing for it.
And then in
Witchblade.
Oh, good list.
Witchblade. I'm the
Good list.
Witchblade, and you're
I'm Maria.
Maria, mortal enemy.
Yes. What else?
Shuffle.
Shuffle.
You're my mom.
Amma and Asa.
I'm an Asa. Asa mama. I'm an Asa. God, there's so many we could go on.
Yeah, those
There's
are
a
the
lot.
main ones that we are popular.
And
But then
they're
also,
current.
like Michiko and Hatchin just came out.
Michiko and Hatchin just came out, and I played Michiko.
High School DxD just came out, and I play the D's. Rias.
The double
She
D.
might be more than
Triple.
D's.
She's like an F.
Yeah. Oh, and Kokoro Connect was just announced that I play Iori, and the first episode is up on the Anime Network. So you should
And
watch
Mach and
it.
Key.
Mach and Key.
Erika 7AO.
Because I can't say that.
I had to.
Eureka!
Eureka or Eureka?
No, she's the one that says it properly.
Eureka.
Yeah. Well, I had to say it at the end of all of the episodes, so the next time on Erika 7AO.
Oh,
So I had to
nice.
say it a lot.
That's why
Something
I
to
played
look
the
forward
sloth.
to.
Just because I couldn't
You're
say
an
it.
adorable sloth.
Thanks.
All right, before we get into the questions, Monica, I wanted to give you an opportunity to update us on your father's condition for the people that
Thank you. Yeah, for those of you online and stuff that knew my dad was not doing so hot, I just wanted to say thank you for all of your love and support. You guys really helped me get through a difficult time. And Daddy is all good. The man died twice, literally, and was brought back, and now he's singing karaoke every day to make his lungs stronger. In fact, he serenaded me the other day. It was very sweet. And he's doing great. So thank you guys for your support, and I really appreciate it. Mwah.
All right, that's great to hear. All right, let's start with Jamie.
Yes.
High School DxD. What were
Boobs.
your thoughts? I guess those were your initial
Those
thoughts
were my
on the
initial
show.
thoughts.
On the show, when you wrote the show, did you have Rias in mind to do the voice work for her? What were your thoughts by the end of the show once you finished and did all your dub work?
Well, when I was writing it, it's definitely a breast-centric show. Never have I seen quite so much nipple. So if you like that, go to High School DxD. They're perfect nipples, and they move on their own, and they have their own sound effects.
Ooh.
And Daryl just lost it. I'm sorry, Daryl. But
Very
it's
detailed.
it's a memorable thing.
What do they sound like?
They're like squishy. They're
Ew.
That's what the boobs sound like. I was
okay.
like, my boobs have no sound effect. I have got to work on
Something's
that.
wrong.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're not supposed to. It's like a water bra, but over boobs. I don't know. It's really, you know what I'm talking about. So, but she is she's a very kind of straightforward character. She's not as silly or goofy, or even as you can tell my vocal register is kind of a roller coaster, and hers isn't like that at all. It's much calmer and straighter and more direct. And so I never thought that would be me. In fact, I almost missed the audition, but then was told, you need to come audition for this. I was like, really? Okay. I thought if I was anything, it would be Akano. But turns turns out I got Ria's. And then it was a really cool opportunity, though, to do a character that I'm not used to playing. So that was, besides the boobs and the red hair. I got that down. But she's not as sassy as your normal anime redhead girl. And so to be able to kind of challenge myself with someone who's just a totally different character was a lot of fun. It was fun to write on because it was kind of neat to make these side characters have a little more personality and tweak them a little bit. But by the end, yeah, I thought it was great. It was a lot of fun to work on, and I got to work with some really fun people, like Susan over here.
Susan, yes.
So I enjoyed it. It was good. Season 2. More boobs.
Just
All right.
for you.
And the other big new show is Michiko and Hatchin. That's the hot new one.
It's like the other end of the spectrum.
I know.
And of course,
Our boobs don't
Monica.
make sounds at all.
Monica, you play Michiko, and it's a role with a voice that's very unlike most of the stuff you do.
I don't know what you're talking about, Juan. There's nothing wrong with this voice.
It is. It's very different. Yeah.
So, what were your initial thoughts on the show when you went to audition? Did you have something in mind you wanted Michiko, or?
It was one of those situations like with Christopher Bevins. You never know when you go to audition with Bevins because you'll go. With most other directors, you go, oh, there's a little girl in it? I'm probably going to play the little girl. But Bevins kind of takes those ideals and throws them out the window.
Yeah.
So you never know. It's anything goes with Bevins. So I had seen, like, the opening credits and stuff. I did my homework before I went into audition, and I remember thinking, this is really cool looking. The story seems really cool. The music is fantastic. All the music by Kessin and all. When I went into audition, though, he had me read twice for Hatchin. And I was like, I mean, not that there's anything wrong with Hatchin, but I don't sound quite boyish enough. And also, that's what I do, is I play kids. So then he had me read Michiko once, and I thought, oh, this is going to be fun. And then that voice came out of nowhere, like just out of the depths of my soul.
It's been there. I've heard it before.
It's been there, but she's never come out to play. And so this Latina sass just came out to play all of a sudden, and Bevins didn't make me do it again. And usually if you are kind of in the running for a role, they make you do it a couple of times. So I was like, oh, I totally blew that. I'm not getting it. But it's okay. Maybe I'll be the little kid. And then he called me, and he's like, hey, guess what? I'm going to need you for like 30 hours. And I was like, oh, really? Am I playing the kid? No, man, you're Michiko. I was like, shut up.
You just needed a quinceañera.
I did. We did have a quinceañera last year, so that might have helped. It helped me get in touch with my Latin roots again. But yeah, it's a great show. I love it. This art is different. The story, like we talked yesterday in a panel about how anime tends to be kind of, you know, oh, hey, somebody's dog fell in the pond. Let's go dig it out. That's the big conflict. And this show deals with, like, drugs and sex and child labor and, like, all of these really gritty real-world problems.
Feel good.
Yeah, totally. It feels like you're not only just acting and entertaining, but you're sending a message. Like you're actually doing good for the world by yelling at Jade Saxton.
And slapping her around.
Yeah, slapping her around a lot. She's good for it, right, Jade?
She likes it.
Yeah.
She's into it.
She's into it.
Someone's at the door.
Hello,
Oh,
welcome.
that just came out on video.
I love it. Occupado.
Okay, so let's continue.
Yes.
This one's a little near and dear to my heart. This was my gateway and still my favorite. Jamie, you starred in Witchblade. Monica, as Lisa Blanchard, wrote Witchblade. What were your initial thoughts on the show? Monica, as you wrote it, how did the show affect you? Did you kind of get it? Did you know anything about the comic book? Same thing. Jamie, were you familiar with the comic book, or did you study it up before you ended up getting the role of Masani?
I had heard about it, certainly.
Yeah, I think
I'd heard about Witchblade before.
We heard about it, yeah.
Well, there was that television show, too.
Mm-hmm.
So I had known about it because of that. But specifically, I didn't go read the comic books because I knew it wasn't the same. It was going to be different. But also, I don't do a lot of research on my characters beforehand because I don't want to get a preconceived idea before I go in and then have, like, the director break my heart because they see it as a different way, you know? So I don't normally do that. Also, time constraints, you know. With writing, we watch
So much
series after series after series, and each episode we write or review, because we're lead writers, we watch 5 or 6 times, minimum. So there's just not a lot of time to watch an entire, like, every show that we're in beforehand. But also, the main thing is I don't want to get a preconceived notion and then be wrong or off or something like that. But I did hear about it. I never thought in a million years I would get Witchblade, because I thought it was going to be a kind of a Wolverine type thing, and I can't do a Wolverine voice. I'm not Wolverine. And when I went in, there were two sides, and there was the Masane side, which sounded a lot like me, which was weird. And then the Witchblade side, which I was like, I can't do Wolverine. And I go in, read the Masane side, and that's fine, and then read the Witchblade side. But before I do, he said, I swear to you, Christopher Bevins said this. This is not like a Wolverine. Like, get out of my head. You're my head. And he said, it's more like, think of like a phone sex operator. And then that moment, I was like, I have this role.
Yeah.
This is my role. And it's, I mean, I was in a sketch comedy troupe, and we had a whole sketch with a phone sex operator, and I was a phone sex operator. And the joke was like that she was hideous, but had this like crazy sexy voice. So I had already, like, I had practiced doing that voice long before I ever got Witchblade, and, you know, being able to be in the show and see how deep her character was, and her relationship with her daughter and everybody else, and it was really
It was fun for me to write. It was a little daunting because I wrote the show with Christopher Bevins, who is like numero uno comic book fan of the world.
Yes.
So it was scary for me because my knowledge of comic books is about this big. I knew what Witchblade was, and that was it. So going in, I was scared to death, but he wanted me to be there because he had the comic book knowledge, and I had the script writing and theatrical knowledge. So together we worked really well together. And then playing Maria was awesome because, God, she was hateful.
she was
so horrible.
Issues. She had big issues.
Such issues. So liberating to go in and just act crazy. And then
because
leave.
you've never done that before.
Never. You guys don't understand. Anime voice acting for us is usually our therapy.
It's true.
We go in, we yell at people. You
can beat the crap out of someone.
Yeah.
Or get the crap beat out of you.
Yeah.
It's great.
Oh, God, there was nothing better than in Fairy Tale when I fought, Mira Jane fought Freed, because I was fighting John Bergmeyer. He was my boss. So I was like, remember that script? It was so easy. I love you, John.
I love you too.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't mean I don't.
Yeah.
Just because I haven't beat you up.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, this one is for Monica. You right now have, I don't know, about over 300 anime titles to your credit. Many of them where you voice more than one character. Is it hard to keep track of all that?
No, yeah, it can
Define
be.
keep track.
Keep track. I will say this, that I have this weird Rain Man-like ability. Not to offend any Rain Man-like people out there. But I have this weird ability to remember most every character in every show that I've worked on.
Yeah.
Except for, like, you know, Girl A in some show that we did for one afternoon. That's a little harder. And these days it gets a little harder because we move so fast. But, like, if you ask me about any of those others, I can usually say, oh, yeah, that was this character. And if I can't remember a name, I can at least tell you everything about the character. Which is weird, because I can't tell you what I had for breakfast. But I can tell you all of that stuff. So it's hard to keep straight, but at the same time, like, as actors, it's our job to put part of us into the character. So I like to look at them. This is going to sound really crazy. Just go with me here. We put a little bit of ourselves into every character, so they're like little pieces of you. Mm-hmm. So there's 300 little pieces of me out there in the world, varying degrees.
Probably closer to 400. But
Probably,
Yeah.
but we'll say 3. But, you know, it's one of those things where I get a lot of work because I've been doing it a long time. Same thing with Jamie. We've been doing it a long time. We go in there, it's boom, boom, boom. We're good for the studio because we get things done faster. But at the same time, we're so tuned into the acting side of things that we can create a character on command. So we do tend to get a lot of work, but it's harder to keep up with. But at the same time, like, they're all so very special to you that they're like your babies. That's like
true.
400 babies.
But you don't have to change them.
No
They're
diaper
better.
or feed them.
Or
Yeah,
feed them,
no.
or keep up with them.
No.
Although they do keep you up all night sometimes, right?
They do.
That's true. That's very true.
All right, this next one is for Jamie.
Yes.
One of my favorite characters that you do is Carrie Nishikawa in Bamboo Blade. Where did that voice come from? Is it someone you knew had some kind of voice when you were growing up that talked like that?
No, I grew up in Oklahoma. Nobody sounded Valley. But there is something about, in the 90s in particular, you had Clueless. And so I don't know anybody who was in theater that didn't shout as F.
Oh yeah, we all know how to talk like
We
that.
totally do.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I actually just got a commercial, and the guy was like, we just need you to say one word, and it's whatever. I was like, yeah, I can do that. He's like, you can do Valley? Pretty solid
Yeah.
on that. Pretty solid. So, it's not that I necessarily, and that's the thing with a lot of the voices, we don't necessarily hear somebody else sound like that, or it's just kind of inspired by everything in our life, not like an actual person, but a television show or, movie or those
That
kind of
lady you
things.
met at the bus stop.
Right.
That was really weird.
Or
and talked funny.
traveling and,
Yeah.
So it wasn't anybody specific that I grew up with. It was just the
Just
Valley.
popped in your
The
head.
Valley
That's it.
ideal. Well, her name was Carrie and knew she was from the U.S., so it seemed fitting. Like when you get to do a U.S. accent, because most of the time they don't want us to. They want it to be very stage neutral, stage standard. That's what it's called. So whenever we get the chance to have at it with an accent, it's way more fun.
All right. You both do ton of script adapting.
Yeah.
Take us through sort of a Cliff's Notes on how you go about this, the steps. Is it the same for every show? Does it depend on the show? Do you have a system down? You just kind of follow guidelines or whatever?
I would say it's a fluid system.
Yeah.
It changes, but
Depending on the show, really,
we
yeah.
depending upon the show. But for the most part, we have specific things that we have to follow. We have
Right.
lines we have to color inside of. But within that, we can kind of do our own thing. We're both lead writers,
Mm-hmm.
so
So we write our own
Yeah.
scripts, and then we also get our team scripts, and our job is basically to make sure that our scripts don't have any typos or ridiculousness, and then we also take our team scripts, and it has to sound like one person wrote all of those scripts. So we need to make sure that the characterization is the same, that there's no typos, that, they highlighted and formatted everything the way it's supposed to be highlighted and formatted, that all the names are correct, and if there's a nickname that's in there, and there's a million things to
yeah, and
think
that's
about.
just the technical side. Then you
Yeah.
have the creative side where this character refers to this particular thing, and then in the next episode they do, but maybe it's not the exact wording, but you want to kind of have them refer to exactly what they were talking about, and you have to make sure that is solid, and any kind of creative
Characterization,
characterizations, you have to make sure everybody's on the same page, that everybody sounds the same.
Then there's time coding. You go through and time code every time a flap opens or whatever. You have to go down to the frame.
Yeah.
It sounds like we're really better, or I'm really better. I'm really not. It's
No.
just that there's so much involved. And I think a lot of people think we just sit behind a computer and go, this is what the translation says.
And that's not at all what it is.
And
We
there's
do
more
have
to
the
it.
same. We do have the same thing we'll do, and not everybody does this. Where so the first thing we have to do, as a lead writer, is go and watch the entire series and take a screen caption of every single character, and give them a name, like whatever their name is, or like woman name, or
Summarize
something like that.
them.
Summarize them. Do every single episode. Get it all ready so that the writers who are working with us will be on the same page. Then we start episode 1 and we time code the entire thing. But after that, what we do is we go through with the translation and rewrite it right then without the flaps.
Ah.
So for us, it's kind of putting it into a natural speech pattern anyway, defining the characters already, so that then when we put it to the flaps, we're only using something that's already been made realistic.
Yeah, because sometimes translation, depending on your translator, sometimes the translations are really smooth and they already sound really fluid and natural, and then sometimes you get a translation where it sounds like Yoda.
Yeah.
To store go I now, and you're like, oh no, you can't say
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So we go through and do our own translations of the translation,
Mhm.
and then fit that in. The
and then go back and put it into the flaps.
So it's a lot of work, but it's fun and it pays off. And then the other thing that sucks too, which I'm not mentioning any names, but sometimes you put things out there, like you write a script, and it's not done. Like once it goes to the booth, that director can change it however they want. It's still got your name on it.
Mm-hmm.
But you just have to sit there and go, that was awesome.
Thank you for changing that line I worked half an hour on.
And sometimes you don't care because it's like a work in progress, really, when you let it go.
It's a living creature, and everybody nurtures it.
It's got lots of fur and you can pet it. It's very soft.
All right, moving on. No,
We're
I'm
not even
doing
really giving you a hard time. But we were going to give him a hard time because we're one of his first interviews. But we're being so nice.
You're doing so
You're
great.
doing so great.
Did we jinx it? I'm sorry.
No, I guess we're down one final question.
Okay.
When it comes to Jamie Marchi and Monica Rial, there's certain roles that kind of come to mind immediately for people. Is there a role you've done where it kind of falls under the radar where you wish would get a little more attention? It's like, I really love that role. I wish people would talk about it more. You know?
That's an awesome
That
question.
is an awesome question.
I love it. Mine would be Amanda Werner from Blast Rider.
Oh, yeah, you were great in that.
Thank you. It was a really great show. I think it's one of the best shows that not everybody's seen. So go see Blast Rider. Leslie likes it.
For me, I'd say, well, definitely Michiko. I'm hoping that it will get a lot of viewing, though. But to go old school, it would be a show called Corral Phantom Memory, and I played a character named Corral. And that show was just a brilliant show from the creators of Razafon, and nobody saw it. And I'm like, it's so good. Man, just
Yeah,
kaboom.
that's how I felt about Blast Rider.
Yeah.
So good.
I liked Blast Rider.
And that was
fun.
Micah Solusat's very first role before Soul, and he sounds totally different. So when I heard him as Soul, I was like, what? He's so good.
Yeah. He's awesome.
He's really good.
All right, well, we'll have to say goodbye here. So you want to say goodbye to the fans?
Goodbye,
Bye,
to the fans.
guys. We love you, and we
So
will see you
much.
again soon.
Yes, and thank you, Juan. You
Thanks,
did an
Juan.
amazing job.
Juanito
Thank
is
you.
fabulous. See.
No, you are fabulous. Thank you so much.
You're so good.
WeRiseMag.com.